Thank you. Wow. Okay, coffee. Done. First task of the day. If you're just tuning in, we've been building out our tiny home completely from scratch, all while living out of it. It's been a wild journey so far. As you can see, we're currently building out our kitchen, and today is our last day to get as much done as we possibly can before we head over to Europe. Now that we have our coffees, we have to head into town to get some supplies, but it also means our supervisor gets to come with, and he has no idea, but we're taking him to his favorite place ever. Let's go. You ready? Let's go. Okay.
All right, bud. Off you go. We're at the beach.
Where are we going? He knows.
These are excited sounds, by the way. Center. Free.
Have fun. Wait. Free.
Now with the supervisor taken care of, it's time to go where we were meant to go in the first place, and that is Bunnings.
For those of you who aren't familiar, Bunnings is like an Australian icon. It's basically just a home improvement store, like Lowe's or Home Depot.
Just a home improvement.
But it's not just a home improvement store, it is Bunnings. I can't even explain why it is so iconic, but that's what I love about Australian culture. It's just the most random things are just hyped up. Got our goodies. $740 later. Tell you what, now's the time to buy some stock in Bunnings. Hi, bud.
Hi, bud.
Now, a quick trip into town always ends up being an hour and a half, 2 hours minimum.
Just driving. Like, it's like 45 minutes each way, plus then obviously whatever you got to do. So then we always want to make the most of while we're here, so it's like grocery shopping or whatever. But today, a quick in and out, but of course, we couldn't not walk Leo on the beach. Now let's get home and get into some work. Of course, we're back to moving everything around out of the kitchen, as these are still my workbenches. So, I'm going to clear this space, track them out on the sawhorses, and then I can start cutting. You're on the clock. I know you've had a big morning, but we've got a lot to do today, alright? First job of the day, putting this archway there. Everything should be pretty straightforward with this one. Get a nice one out of the way early, and get into preparing the bench tops. First, yeah. Got me. Well, that wasn't very smooth, was it? So I had to disconnect it because where I'd screwed in at the top, it was like still just exposing a tiny bit of the track in the middle here, and we obviously want it to be concealed, so I just unscrew it, reclamp and rescrew, but it was so minimal that you can't use the same screw holes because they would just go straight back up into the original screw holes and just lift it up again. So, not ideal. It doesn't matter, you fill in the heads anyway, but hopefully smoother sailing from here on. This is the bench top. Oh, you guys were perfect. Now, no, we're not doing plywood bench tops as the finish. We're actually going to be micro cementing them just like we did our wardrobe upstairs. We were so happy with how that went that we thought we should definitely do it for the bench tops. Plywood's just a really solid base for it. I've already worked with it before, and that way we've got a nice, really sealed countertop. It's heat resistant, waterproof, and pretty well scuff resistant. And we know a few people that do have micro cement countertops, and I've been really impressed with how they've come up. I'm going to be stacking a sheet on top of another sheet and cutting out the bench tops. Then they'll be screwed and glued together to have an extra thick sort of counter, so they're not just 18mm thick. What do you reckon? You happy? So I've got it roughly where I need to be now. I think the best way to make sure I'm going to have a super consistent edge will be to glue and screw now and then treat it as a single piece. I could have done that before, but I feel like because I've also got to think about where the sink's going, I can't have screws going through there. Not that I'll have many, but at least this way now I can glue it down. I've given myself a couple mil of sanding, stick it together, let it cure, and then that way I can sand. And then I've also got to round one corner as well, but that'll be down the line. I think for now, if I can get it to the point that it fits perfectly and it's one single piece as opposed to two, we'll have a win and we'll move on to the longer piece. Right on time. Thank you. How's it looking like?
Gotta keep my boy caffeinated, right?
Put it down there. Yeah.
I'm really excited about this because on either end we're gonna have rounded corners.
It's gonna be like our bedroom closet wall thing. And our couch, but we're not gonna tell you more about the couch until later.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be really exciting, but we gotta wait for that. It must be time for our supervisor's midday snack. Huh? If you know Leo, you know his favorite snack in the world. Someone's excited. Here you go. Oh.
Now, the longest bit of marine ply that I could find was 2700 long, and I needed like 2750, which was super frustrating. But because of that, it means I need to add some extra length. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm double thicknessing, I want to have the crease at opposite ends and far away as well from where the stove is going to go, because that way so that it's structurally still really strong. So I'm going to put this guy on first, and then I'm going to make the same piece on the other long one with another little one attached to it, and they should both oppose each other and slip into each other, so that then the long one bumps up against this and the little one bumps up against this end, and then it gets us to 2750, all locked in, glued, screwed. Happy days. In theory this will work. We'll just see how we go. There it is. Now a moment of truth. Perfect. Perfect. Now, I can't put this guy in place yet because what I will do when we get back from Europe is remove this bottom part of the window frame here, and that way I've measured it so that our countertop is going to be flush with the height that this is supposed to be, which means I've cut our benchtop deeper, so it's going to replace this whole panel, and it gives us a far deeper kitchen countertop once it's in place, which is going to be great. But I'm not going to remove that before we leave, so when I come back I'll end up cutting this guy out, cutting notches out of the ends where it's going to nook in and lay it in place. Now with the benchtop's done, it's time to move on to yet another job on our to-do list, which is cutting some more fibre cement sheeting. Why, you ask? Because we're going to be tiling from here down around the window and back up the other side. So we need to have the correct backing so that we can actually tile, as opposed to just our normal VJ board. So now this guy slips behind the bench in like this. Like this. And wow, harder than I thought. But for the time being, we're not going to mount it just yet because I still need to solidify a few things. We're also going to be tiling the inside of the frame as well, which is going to be fun, but also a nice challenge. I'm happy with just having it cut, but I'm not going to fix it just yet, as I want to make sure everything's perfect, particularly when it comes to fixing the cabinetry, etc. But all in all, stoked. Next job. Working hard. You earned it, mate. Big day today.
Alright, base coat done. That was great. It's looking really beautiful. Obviously cannot wait to put some color into this space. Everything looks very clean and white and bare, and it's beautiful, but it's kind of driving me nuts. I need to have some kind of like life and color.
Personality or something.
Yeah, but we're building a good foundation, and then when we get back from Europe, it's gonna be a matter of adding all the color and life to it. That was a very successful, crazy day. We still have a little bit of sunlight left and a lot of stuff to clean up. Hopefully we can get it all cleaned up before the sun goes down.
So after days like this is normally the aftermath, and then we just have to find ways to clean up and put stuff places without a shed. It's usually a bit of a nightmare. And today's a pretty bad one, so get to it.
Now, you might be wondering why we aren't just working straight into the night if we're on this time limit. One of the things that we always said when we started this tiny home build was that we were going to prioritize balance. And that means setting boundaries with our work, because we technically work for ourselves, so we could keep working into the night, early hours of the morning, but I think that we would just run ourselves into the ground. And we actually did do that when we did our van build and our Land Rover build. We gave ourselves a month to fit it out, and it was so intense and not good for our mental health. So we have prioritized taking things slowly so that we look back on this experience very fondly. If you've been following along for a while now, you know that we love to do things at our own pace, very slowly, and just enjoying the process. And that transitions over to life as well. So if you can take one thing from our videos, it's just slow down and live life at your own pace, what genuinely feels good to you. Don't pay attention to anyone who's pressuring you, even if it's yourself pressuring you to get as much done as you possibly can in a tiny time limit. Life is just about enjoying the ride, hey? All right, I should probably get back to helping Glenn. Thank you for your service today. It was much appreciated. Yeah. Are you ready for dinner? Yeah. All right, down. Good, wait. Wait. Good boy. Sit good, wait. Okay. Meanwhile, the whole time we've been trying to record this guy found his little lammy toy. I think someone wants to play. I reckon the hardest part about going to Europe is gonna be saying goodbye to that little man right there.
That thing.
Our child. Oh my gosh, this is the longest we're gonna be away from him. 6 whole weeks. Whew, all right, that concludes our last day on the tools. Before we pick up other tools, aka our cameras, and head to Europe.
We're going to be heading over there, shooting a couple of really fun projects, plus also being with our mates Reese and Tan, mainly in the south of France and southern Italy, which we're so pumped about spending a decent amount of time in one place as opposed to hopping around a lot.
But I'm so proud of how far we've come with this tiny home build, not only today, but just as a whole. We're so close to this kitchen being done, but it has to be put on pause for now.
Hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you on the next one overseas.